Welcome to Spokane Talks, where you find news, views, and conversation that include respect for opinions, facts, and diversity. Spokane Talks is brought to you in part by McNeice Wheeler Attorneys, Ponderosa Republican Women, and Rodda Paint.
Welcome to Spokane Talks. Tonight, Brady Magruder has an opportunity to go to North Central High School for Youth Spotlight, followed by Artist in Residence on Library Out Loud, and then Puttin on the Ritz, the historic Davenport Hotel New Year's Eve party.
Ponderosa Republican Women is a club with members that come from every part of Spokane County. Although they differ in age, occupation, ethnic background, and cultural heritage, these women and many men stand together to promote government based on conservative principles, discover lifelong friendships, meet elected officials and candidates, hear challenging speakers, receive campaign training, and learn about the electoral process. Our meetings take place on the second Thursday of every month. Follow Ponderosa Republican Women on Facebook for more information.
Hello, Spokane Talks. Welcome to the program Youth Spotlight. I am your host, Brady Magruder, and I am here with the September candidate for Youth Spotlight, Myah Rodriguez Bates. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Now, you are here because of your fantastic experiences throughout your entire life. You went through some traumatic experiences when you were 7 years old, and you also went through some amazing experiences pretty recently, actually. And I think that's just absolutely fantastic. Congratulations on making it on the show. And so why don't you, tell me who you are.
I'm a senior at North Central High School, and I'm 17 years old. I'm very involved in the community and sports.
What sport do you play?
I play varsity volleyball.
That's incredible. And this is your first year, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is.
That's awesome. Now, besides now in your high school life right now, when you were 7 years old, the story was a little bit different for you. Yes.
When I was 7 years old, I was diagnosed with Wilms tumor, which was a tumor on my left kidney.
Right. Yeah, that is quite the experience. I imagine that must have been a difficult experience for you and your family.
Yeah, it was hard for my family to just have to support me through that and not ever know what's going to happen next.
Right, and since you were pretty little, the memories must be a little bit splotchy.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
Yeah. But I also imagine, because I know I have a friend, Mitch, who went through some pretty traumatic bone cancer, and he and his family were very affected by that. They and the friends and the entire school all pitched in on their support and really felt it. And I imagine that must have been very similar for you and your friends and family as well, right?
I had a really close-knit elementary school classroom, and they supported me a lot through it and would give me things while I was in the hospital. And also my best friend would visit me every single day in the hospital.
Right. That's really awesome, to be able to have that support as a child. And I'm sure that, with that, you also have your own sort of arc in your personality as well as you transition from your elementary school life to now as well. Yeah.
I definitely have used my cancer to be more motivated in what I do. I can do everything that everybody else can, and I've gone through all of that, and I use it as a motivator to get through the hard things. So.
Right, of course. Now, I cannot wait to get back to that. We're going to take a quick break here and to get a word from our sponsors, and we'll talk more about how you use that determination nowadays. Thank you.
The following is sponsored by our friends and community supporters at McNeice Wheeler Attorneys. McNeice Wheeler is a boutique law firm in Spokane, handling matters in both Washington and Idaho. Areas of law include business law, wills, trusts and estates, family law,
Welcome back to Youth Spotlight. I'm Brady Magruder, your host, and I am here with Myah Rodriguez. Once again, thank you and congratulations for coming onto the show today. It's amazing. Now, before we were talking about your experiences with cancer and how that developed you as a person and affected your family life. But what I'm more interested in learning about now is your experiences recently, because you're a senior, 17 years old at NC. And you recently have gone through a amazing experience with a food drive.
Yes, so I helped run the fall food drive and the spring food drive, and we almost doubled our previous records, and we blew it out of the water. It was so good.
Oh, that's incredible. See, your past record was about 12,000, correct? Yeah.
And then we got like 22,000.
22,000. Yeah. And these are cans of food.
Yeah, it was like we have different items that we take. Like we also take like hygiene products and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So we just counted each item.
Yeah, and I imagine that food drive does a lot of benefits for not only the communities that you donate to, but just the community at NC as well. Correct? Yeah.
Yeah. We have a lot of low-income students that come into our school, and so there's a program where they can sign up with the food pantry and get food out of there.
That's absolutely incredible. And I imagine that also helps generate a type of, a school spirit and school pride in NC as well for you and all the students in there as well.
For sure. We bleed red and black, and one of our sayings at North Central is, "We are family always," and we're super tight-knit and such a great community there.
That's absolutely incredible. I know that being able to be that close with all of your peers and experience that together is incredibly important. And so now you have gone through this change from 7-year-old cancer patient to amazing senior at NC. How would you describe your experience for maybe somebody else throughout Spokane and throughout any of the local communities who could possibly be going through the same thing right now or will in the future?
I feel like you just need to know that there's a life ahead of you that you need to keep working for, and if you're trying to support somebody going through that, you need to make sure you're giving them something to fight for and to keep looking towards.
All right. You heard it here. Thank you for coming on to the show today, and we will see you next time with Youth Spotlight.
Next up on Library Out Loud, host Jane Baker sits down with the artist in residence for the Spokane County Library District.
Ponderosa Republican Women is a club with members that come from every part of Spokane County. Although they differ in age, occupation, ethnic background, and cultural heritage, these women and many men stand together to promote government based on conservative principles, discover lifelong friendships, meet elected officials and candidates, hear challenging speakers, receive campaign training, and learn about the electoral process. Our meetings take place on the second Thursday of every month. Follow Ponderosa Republican Women on Facebook for more information.
Hello, I'm Jane Baker with the Spokane County Library District, and this is Library Out Loud. My guest today is Timothy Ely, who is an artist and bookbinder. Tim, thank you for being here today.
Pleasure.
And you have brought some wonderful things, and immediately I want to say this is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. The inside, the outside. Tell me about this, please.
Well, the binding is an invention that a friend of mine came up with, I think in the late 80s, called wire edge binding. And this was invented by Daniel Kelm as a way of, it does many things. It makes all sorts of geometric solid book structures. But I think his original notion was a way to create essentially a photograph album, an album for prints or photos that would open flat, that wouldn't drag on itself because there was no adhesive on the spine. Mm-hmm. And so I am very fond of this method. I don't use it very often, just because I don't know. I don't use it very often, but I love it. And one of the things that I find very cool about it is there's a little stainless steel wire running through this, and the sewing crosses over that wire, so it all moves very, very gracefully.
Yes.
And the book will lay flat. So this is a book that every exhibition it's ever been in, some of them are 3 months in length, and normally a book needs to be opened and closed. Books like to be closed. Mm-hmm. This book likes to be any way you want it to be. So you can stand it, fan it, lay it on its back, pose it in many, many ways. So this is a model for a larger book. But what I have going on in it also as an example of what I call crib reform, which is a mark-making system I devised for myself when I was, 22, and I was given a fountain pen as a Christmas gift. And because I am predominantly left-handed when I'm working flat, if I'm working conventionally, I drag my hand through the ink. So I thought, well, I'll write backwards. And so as I began to do this, because of the quality of that pen, my marks looked very Asian. And I thought, well, this is not going to work because I'm sort of evoking something that I don't get. So let's see if I can't tease this into something else. And in a biology class, this showed up. And when I began to formally make books, the crib reform was a way of captioning an image without having to write in English and actually write a text and create that sort of second stream of narration.
That's very interesting. It's fabulous. Great story. You are going to be at the North Spokane Library through the month of October as one of our creators in residence. And during that time, you'll be available for people to come see and ask you questions on Wednesday. We're going to talk more about that when we come back here on Library Out Loud.
The following is sponsored by our friends and community supporters at McNeice Wheeler Attorneys. McNeice Wheeler is a boutique law firm in Spokane, handling matters in both Washington and Idaho. Areas of law include business law, wills, trusts and estates, family law, personal injury and wrongful death, and real estate matters. For your full-service legal needs, contact McNeice Wheeler Attorneys.
Welcome back to Library Out Loud. Jane Baker here with Timothy Ely, and we are talking bookbinding and the wonderful artistry you do. And you are a creator in residence at our lab in the North Spokane Library on Hawthorne Road through the month of October. And during October, on Wednesdays between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., you will be there working on some of these projects. Right. And you're available for people to come in to watch, ask questions, talk about your process, or just talk in general. Yeah. And that's going on all through October. So I suggest anybody who has a chance, stop by and talk. And it's free. All they have to do is come in and have a conversation and leave much richer. How's that? We also have you doing a couple workshops at North Spokane. The first one is the Beginner's Guide to Book Arts. That's on Saturday, October 13th from 1 to 3. And then on October 27th, the Extraterrestrial book. Can you tell us a little bit about the workshops?
Well, the workshop is going to center around a small form called a single section book. Some people sometimes refer to them as chapbooks.
Okay.
The American Revolution had a lot of chapbooks printed by early American printers as a way of spreading the word because they can be sewn very quickly, and there's just small pamphlet forms, but they have a lot of uses, and so I want to explore some of those uses and teach people how to make them.
Wow, that's fabulous. And then the Extraterrestrial book workshop, same or a little different? A lecture.
It's a lecture,
okay.
And probably a good hour with plenty of time for questions because I want to show a lot of images, trying to connect my work with books of the past, processes of the past, the effect of printing, and its effect on making books, how we went from simple handmade books, robust leather, wooden board, heavy structures, to things that were much more abbreviated. So there's a lot of information.
That's great. That's great. And I cannot underestimate what a great impact it has to pick up a piece of your art, your work, and feel it and touch it, and the impact it has on me. It's very exciting, and I suggest to anybody go up and check it out at the North Spokane Library through the month of October. For Timothy Ely and myself, thank you for being here at Library Out Loud.
Up next on Spokane Talks, host Ken Adams gets an opportunity to sit down for an exciting conversation about an upcoming New Year's Eve party at the historic Davenport Hotel, Puttin on the Ritz.
See you tomorrow night, and thanks again for taking care of the painting.
I got this.
Bye.
Weekends are made for painting. Let the experts at Rodda Paint take care of you.
Hi. This looks amazing.
Rodda Paint, over 80 years of quality, tradition, and trust. Find it in every can.
Good afternoon again. I almost said good morning, but it's 12:03, so it's the afternoon, isn't it? Susan Senske O'Neil. I recognize the Senske because that's well known around Spokane, and you got family and all of that.
Since the mid-1800s.
Wow, I remember that. Some people accuse me of going back that far. Susan, you have been involved in this community. You went away for a while, you're back. And you created something that is, what year is this for the Puttin on the Ritz?
This is the 5th year.
5th year, okay. And so come New Year's Eve, you are it, and the folks that follow you down to the old historic Davenport Hotel love what you've put together and all the folks that you've gotten to work together on Puttin on the Ritz. Tell me about that. How did you get to that?
Well, it started with Eckert.
Okay.
According to the story I was given, it started with Eckert,
yes,
the music director at the symphony.
Right.
And he wanted a beautiful party for people to be able to go to after his Beethoven's Ninth, which is just exhilarating. It's a 1-hour program,
right.
So it's a great thing to do. And people come out having not planned anything for it because there was nothing to really do. And they are so elated. And they enjoyed it so much.
They wanted to make a full night of it.
It's such a rich experience.
Yeah.
And I don't know diddly squat about music. Trust me. And even I come out. You don't have to know a note of music to
appreciate
get it and appreciate it. Yeah. You will be so uplifted. Well, anyway, now that I've promoted that, so he wanted a place for people to be able to go afterwards. Yes. It would be very nice. So the first year the symphony did it, and it was very modest.
Okay.
And then the next year they passed it off to Spokane Symphony Associates, who is now presenting it.
Okay.
And we just started building on it. And then the year after that, I took the chairmanship.
Oh, Lord, and things went crazy from there.
SSA is still spinning.
And my guess is you're not finished with it yet,
no,
are you?
I have visions and I have secrets for next year.
Oh, Lord.
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
But yeah, see, I'm already thinking about next year.
I know you are.
Every year we try to improve it on the limited budget that we have.
Sure.
And that budget is determined by the ticket price.
Okay.
And we try to keep it down and still give you a huge bang for your buck in elegance and entertainment and fun.
Well, it doesn't get much better than the historic Davenport Hotel.
It's not hard to work with.
No. The setting is great.
Oh, it's fabulous.
Yeah, and you couldn't have done it 15, 20 years ago when it was closed. So
my grandmother lived down there.
Really?
Yeah. Beautiful place, and
yes.
I don't know another venue that I could do.
So folks are going to come to this. What are they going to see, and what do they get to do?
Well, they're going to come after the symphony, I hope.
Yes.
And they're going to walk into the Davenport, go to the mezzanine, and they will be greeted at a red carpet.
Okay.
And on the red carpet, we try to have at least 3 gentlemen in tails to escort people.
Oh, fun.
They'll check in. They'll go up the stairs to the Hall of Doges, which is positively elegant.
Isn't that beautiful?
I love that place.
Yeah. I'm glad they preserved it.
When I come back in my next life, that's my bedroom.
Oh, okay.
I love that room. That is beautiful.
And ladies and gentlemen, she's not kidding.
No. It is a beautiful, beautiful room. And the dinner begins, and then we start with dinner.
Okay.
And that's at 9 o'clock. It's important for people to understand.
You go to the
dinner
symphony first.
Isn't going to be served at 10 to you or 10:30. It's at 9 o'clock. And then we serve dessert at 11.
Okay.
During a band break. And so people eat and they listen to the entertainment and the band. It's a 20-piece band.
Okay. Wow, that's good size.
Yes, it's a master class big band, which is now has warped into a very inclusive band.
Okay.
As far as music goes, they go from Uptown Funk to Miller.
For some reason, I can see you out there with the Uptown Funk.
Both.
Okay.
I
can see you
I
out
love
there.
ballroom dancing.
I hope people have pictures of you doing that too. If
yes, I've seen a couple.
Yeah. And you've tried to destroy them all, have you?
I tried, but I didn't get the negatives.
Yeah.
But
and then I'm going to guess something might happen around midnight?
Oh, yes. They have a ball drop.
Okay.
And it's on video.
Okay.
And at that time, you get party bags, or actually 11. When you get your dessert, you get your hats and whistles and party bags and Ghirardelli chocolate and dessert. And then at midnight, we ring it in. And then last year, they finally left at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Really?
That is the thing that people need to understand. This party is so elegant and then so fun.
Yes.
And it's
no one wants to leave.
No. And I'm sitting there, I've been there since 6 in the morning.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Like, go home, folks.
Yeah, right.
One of us is tired.
Cindy Hval is a freelance columnist and correspondent for the Spokesman Review and author of War Bonds, Love Stories from the Greatest Generation. The view from her porch is usually sunny.
All I wanted was some corn to throw on the barbecue. But one Saturday, my shopping took on a surreal turn when I was accosted by a stranger while perusing produce. As I slid an ear of corn into a bag, a woman said, "Stop! Don't buy that corn. That's been genetically modified. Do you want to become sterile?" "Ma'am," I said, "I have 4 mostly grown sons. At this point in my life, sterility would be a blessing." Agitated, the woman poked at the corn in my hand and said, "You should only buy corn that's labeled heirloom." Ignoring her, I tossed the corn in the bag and put another ear in for good measure and headed off for the deli. She followed me. No wonder my mom warned me about talking to strangers. What had been a minor annoyance in my trip to the grocery store was turning into a major pain. "I asked him," she said, gesturing to the produce guy. "He said that corn is definitely genetically modified." "Did you ask him if he was sterile?" I inquired. She proceeded to tell me about cows being fed genetically modified corn that became sterile. She did admit, well, you'd have to eat an awful lot of it, but still, you should look it up. It's on the internet. "You can't believe everything you read on the internet," I told her. Gasping, she replied, "But this is well researched. A woman came to our garden club and told us all about it." My patience had run out a few aisles back. "Ma'am," I said, "I believe in the sanctity of the grocery cart, and the items therein should not be open for debate or public comment." Then I turned my cart sharply and walked quickly away, fighting the urge to fill it with Cheese Whiz and Twinkies and Pop-Tarts. When I told my family about the drama that night at dinner, they all said the corn tasted even sweeter than usual. Maybe that's because we slathered it with organic butter. All I know is irony has never been more delicious. And that's the tasty view from my front porch.
Thanks for joining us tonight for Spokane Talks. We'll see you next week for more news, views, and conversation.
See you tomorrow night, and thanks again for taking care of the painting.
I got this.
Bye.
Weekends are made for painting. Let the experts at Rodda Paint take care of you.
Hi. This looks amazing.
Rodda Paint, over 80 years of quality, tradition, and trust. Find it in every can.
Welcome to Spokane Talks. We have had the opportunity to be out here on the Z Nation set. But also we're excited at Spokane Talks. We have several shows, different genres, from Real Estate Radio, Spokane Talks Live, Meet the Candidates, The Locker Room. We have several shows coming to you that can be found on all social media platforms, as well as coming up on Fox 28. Thank you so much. It's been a great opportunity being here at Z Nation set. Thank you.
Spokane Talks is about you. Give us your feedback and comments at info@SpokaneTalksMedia.com. Spokane Talks is brought to you in part by McNeice Wheeler Attorneys, Ponderosa Republican Women, and Rodda Paint. We'll be back next week with additional news, views, and conversations. Please join us. So long for now.